Welcome everybody, this is Commander Ramsey, and this week's video, I'll try to get through it. I've got an upper respiratory infection and sinus infection, so feeling pretty poor but I thought I would get this video out. It was a great game, and my little Tier 7 Hyuga, hope I'm pronouncing that right, Hyuga, a Japanese battleship of WW2. She is actually a large battleship with 10 16-inch guns. For a Tier 7 battleship, that's quite formidable. And on top of that, she has the reload booster. You can see down at the bottom of your screen, on the center right. 3 of those, which they reload quite quickly, and I always end up using them up. This is probably, I don't know, 4th or 5th game I've had in the ship, and the ship came highly recommended, I believe by Sea Lord Mountbatten, maybe? I can't recall. But nonetheless, start out here. You notice I'm in a Tier 9 game, which is going to be quite challenging, so I go to my standard protocol and start off firing HE shells at distance. The unfortunate thing is this Japanese battleship does not have a spotter plane, which really wish Wargaming would change that, or at least provide you the option. It's not like captains of this era did not have the choice of, you know, loading what type of plane they wanted, or planes on board before they set sail. Right away, an enemy CV is honing in on the bridge of my ship, launching torpedoes, which if I were in his shoes, I'd be doing the same thing, trying to work on the large lower tier battleships. I thought I might get a little protection staying near my friendly cruiser, but my team can't seem to make up their mind in this division which direction they want to go. So I'm trying to recover myself here and head off toward the A-cap. I found out, you know, the last thing you really want to be is in the middle, particularly when you're in a large ship that has poor detectability. In my case, my detectability I think is well over 15 kilometers. So you can see me from the moon. So anyway, I try to regroup myself after that CV attack, torpedo bombers, and I move off toward the A-cap to try to support my friendlies over there. At the same time, I'm trying to get my guns trained now that I'm not detected. Maybe I can get a good launch of some HE shells and maybe start some fires. Have yet to fire a shot. Briefly, I saw a battleship there. I think it was the Alsace. No, maybe in the Alaska. I'm sorry. Here's the Mogami at distance. Still no shot. So I'm going to have to go around this pesky island and loop around. You notice I've got my friendly CV here barreling in on the location. Excuse me. So I'm trying to get my guns lined up, all 10 of them, in a direction which I think I may have a shot. But my friendly CV is coming in quickly. And of course, he's probably got his planes up in the air. Try to give him a friendly reminder he needs to get back. I'd hate to see him taken out early in the game. Anyway, I appreciate a chance to record this video on the ship. It's a good premium ship, and I think you'll enjoy it. Anyway, my friendly CV gets the message. He's starting to bank off to the left. Finally, I'm getting in place where I can launch some shots. Here's the Nagato off at range. I'll keep with the HE at this distance, because many times I find the enemy ships will veer away from broadside. And once again, I've got a friendly ship here backing up. Now I'm going to hit him. So I'm completely broadside exposed here, and I'm thinking, oh great, I'm going to get citadeled. Right away I notice the enemy team has a destroyer nearby. I'll launch a few pot shots at him. Really not expecting to hit him, but I'm going to try. Maybe I can at least scare him out of the cap zone. Here come the predicted torpedoes from the destroyer. Trying to get in shots on the Nagato down there. Not having much luck. Game starts out a little slow. But notice where the there I got a fire start. Notice where the enemy Alaska is ducking off to. He's getting a strategic location there. He just hit me. Perfect location right behind the islands. I can still get a shot off on him maybe using the mini map. Don't let him know, hey, I see you over there. Still haven't converted to AP shells yet because I know most of my shots are going to be at distance. Get off a few more shots on the enemy Myoko cruiser. I try to not fire all my guns at once, being that I've got 10 barrels. It gives me a little variety in case I get an opportune shot that develops. You can see the Nebraska is still hitting me hard, so I figured I've got to turn. He's still setting up his shop over there. As long as I'm detected, I'm a potential receiver of his large AP shells. Then I notice that Myoko has grounded himself into the island, so at once I start to angle myself a little better. Starting to get a few shots in there. Notice I've got torpedoes coming in from various locations. Going to take one here on the bow. Things are not looking too good at this point, but it does get better, I promise you. The commander and ship builds are at the end of the video, but we're a long way from finishing here. Even though we've got a good lead here. Get in a couple more shots. Japanese cruiser there. Things are looking pretty poor, but I do manage to survive and regroup here. Notice I'm using my guns in the forward to the left, and the guns in the back of my ship to the right. Try to get the way my shells are loading. I'm able to get shots off in two different directions. It's working pretty good. The Hyuga has a great repair party on it. It's quite handy. A couple overpins there. I go ahead and use my repair party here to try to minimize my damage as I back out of the battle zone. Unfortunately, our friendly Bismarck is YOLOing into the cap zone, which I'm not quite sure why he did that. We've got a large lead, and the last thing you really want to do is go sacrifice yourself to all those enemy ships, you don't really stand a chance anyway. I'm going to wrap the stern of my ship back around to get some shots. Lost my I lost my spotting there because the Bismarck went up in flames. You notice the enemy fleet is still hanging around. One of the things that happens in this battle is a prime example of being able to cause chaos on the enemy's strong flank, and by doing that you distract them. So you notice during most of the battle we've been able to capture the other two cap zones, I believe it's B and C, and thereby take a lead. So let that be a lesson, even though you're on the your team's weak flank. It's not very fun. If you can manage to keep yourself alive and pepper the enemy team with ongoing shells, you can create some chaos. But keep yourself alive. Unfortunately, the enemy team CV keeps honing in on me. I'm asking for AA support. Some of my friendlies are starting to come over. I think we had one of our battleships here in the back that was away from the keyboard, but I'm not quite sure on that. Anyway, I'm trying to put some damage in on the Nebraska. One of the things I've learned is the new hybrid ship line, which I own the Kearsarge. You've got a large hangar area there, which is subject to a lot of fire damage. And you'll see in this video at the end, when we go through the stats, I do put quite a bit of damage on the Nebraska. And this is not the first time that I've been able to deal large amounts of damage to some of these hybrid ships. They don't like HE shells. They don't like good secondaries like from the Georgia or one of your German battleships. You can really do a lot of good fire damage on those hybrid ships. Notice I'm separating my fire between the ships and hoping to disperse and get some damage. I got another fire started there. Notice my fires are starting to, got 5 fires started so far in the battle. Still trying to stay alive. Here I went ahead and used my heal, trying to reserve my repair party for continued attacks from the CV. But I noticed I was getting low on health, and the CV is occupied trying to take out our ship in the back, who seems to be, or was, away from his keyboard. So you can see there for a while I've been the only ship on my team's flank, and you can see finally the enemy took me out. But I'm not done yet. Trying to encourage my team. Notice my damage has continued to impact on the upper right hand screen. I had a fire started and I took out, I believe it was the Nebraska. So that's always a satisfying feeling to end a game. You notice the ship total is about the same, but fortunately we end up winning this. And staying power. Anyway, little tier 7 battleship, racked up about 109,000 in damage. Got the it's just a flesh wound award there for striking from the dead. 8 fires, and this is going to my strategy. You've got a low tier ship, low tier battleship. You're in a high tier battle, firing at distance. Use those HE shells, and you can get some good fire damage. Here I came in first place on the team in XP, which was fantastic. I was happy about that. I had no idea that would be that high in the rankings, but I'll take it. Overall, I think our team did fairly well. We capitalized on the B and C cap while keeping the enemy team occupied on their strong flank. While they were able to take the cap, they weren't able to advance on it. We kept peppering them and pushing them back. Meanwhile, we were taking out their weaker flank ships over in B and C cap and gaining XP during the game and points to win. Anyway, I'll move on to the details. There's what I was talking about on the Nebraska. 2 fires, 19,000 in damage, but 28,000 damage there in shells, most of it in HE due to all the hangar area. The Nagato, 2 fires, 16,000 damage. The Myoko, 1 fire, very little damage. Mostly AP shells on there. I had some good shots at him. The Azumo and so forth. You can see the damages here. Didn't really get a damage on the Alaska. Had 1 shell hit, nothing get bounced. There you can see the HE damage, 47,000. And then you see the fire damage, about 42,000. So that's about 89,000 damage from HE and shell fires, HE shells and fires. So that's a good strategy there, as I mentioned. I did manage to get about 25,000 in Commander XP, which is not bad. That's good, building up those skills. We'll move on here to the ship and commander skills. First of all, the equipment. A little bit different here. I've got the magazine mod. It's such a large ship, large broadside. That's my strategy. Pretty much these other settings are pretty much standard for battleships of this tier. I like to manage my damage, stay in the game as long as possible, so I use damage control mod 2. My signal flags here, I actually still use Juliet Charlie, trying to be overtly cautious with a large broadside. And these are pretty much, the rest of them are what I run on a standard battleship, trying to maximize my health and speed and fire starting capability. As I said, you know, the fighter comes standard. The reload booster is quite handy and can be helpful if you get a good shot. I didn't use it as much in this battle as I would have liked to. I've got the new Commander Yamamoto. In this battle, I had him only at 19 skill points. Later boosted him to 21. But greasing the gears is by far the best for this battleship as far as his commander skill and preventative maintenance. Also, the vigilance skill helps, and of course adrenaline rush. Basics of survivability to help on controlling damage in combination with fire prevention, and of course emergency repair expert. All of those help to maintain your ship health